Thanksgiving weekend sales numbers that were better than expected. For the big day, CBS News' Meg Oliver is at a massive Amazon distribution center in Robbinsville, New Jersey, surrounded by the package-moving belt systems.
Millions of Americans are probably closing their office door, doing a little shopping. It's actually supposed to peak tonight between 8 and 10 p.m. with consumers spending $16 million per minute.
Again, a reminder, you probably should avoid westbound Highway 70 at Lake St. Louis. Traffic backed up in both directions. Few lanes getting by due to a crash at that location. Let's check the weather now. It's brought to you by Pine Valley Assisted Living.
Here comes our second snow, but this one is going to be very different. This is a fast hit of very dry snow, not the wet stuff we had on Saturday. So lots of clouds on this Monday afternoon. It's a cold day. Light snow developing as we go through the afternoon, and that's a concern for the evening rush. 30 degrees for the high most of the afternoon, in the 20s. Tonight, snow ending around midnight. It's cold. Again, it's a very dry snow, 1, maybe 2 inches of snow. But remember, dry snow is a very slick snow. 20 for the overnight low. On Tuesday, partly sunny and cold, 32, 21 on Tuesday night. Wednesday, plenty of sun, the high 39 on Wednesday. Wednesday, probably the warmest of the week because we're going back down come Thursday and into Friday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Again, we've got heavy snowfall in the St. Louis area right now. 26 degrees in Florissant, 27 in St. Peters, 26 downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Well, as you can see, if you're watching on X, on Facebook, or on YouTube, it's, well, you can't really tell because it's glowing the window in the video, but it is snowing over my right shoulder. Welcome to the show, everybody. Tom Ackerman with you. Look who's here. Nate Gatter's here for the Gashouse Gang. What's going on?
Not much, Tom. How you doing?
Doing great. How was Michigan, Ohio State? You had the call and Westwood won.
It was great. And I'll tell you what, I enjoy doing that game a lot more when it's in Ann Arbor than I do when it's in Columbus, because although we have a great spot in Columbus and I love the Ohio State people, they take care of us, we're outside on a camera deck. So last year when it was 20 degrees, I mean, you're just feeling that the whole game. At Michigan, we've got a nice booth, crank that heat up even with the window open. It's nice and cozy. The folks outside can get the 20 degrees. I'll take my 60 or whatever it is in the booth with the window open.
Wow. I remember the first game I did on the sidelines for Mizzou was at K-State, and it was snowing or sleeting like in my ear. Like it was like sideways.
Like Illinois days. Northwestern on Saturday.
Yeah. It was a rough go, but fun. No doubt about it. You just kind of forget about it until there's sort of a dead moment and you realize you're cold. And then the following week, Mizzou played Michigan State, and they got throttled, and I had to talk to Gary Pinkel after that. And then he ended up, becoming the winningest Mizzou coach of all time. Those were good times. Did you see Dan Dierdorf while you were there? Was he?
I did not.
Okay, he's around there somewhere, I'm sure. If he is listening now, I know that he's bummed about the fact that Ohio State got him this time, but it was a good run for Michigan, 4 in a row. I will be at Indiana, Ohio State, as I mentioned on the air early this morning. I'm going to do the double dip, not as a professional, I don't know, fan, drinker. I don't know.
I think it'll be more fun than doing it as a professional.
It's going to be a blast. Indiana and Louisville at Gainbridge Fieldhouse that afternoon. And then we'll just kind of mosey our way over to Lucas Oil Stadium for number 1 against number 2. It's going to be awesome. The Big Ten championship this weekend. You'll have the SEC championship.
Yeah, should be fun as well. I think it's not number 1 against number 2, but in some ways the stakes are different. You and I were talking just before we came on the air. For Ohio State and Indiana, the stakes are really high, in particular for IU, because it's a chance to take over the number 1 ranking, and most importantly, it's a chance to win a Big Ten championship trophy, and that's not something that you take lightly anywhere, but certainly not at Indiana. And on the SEC side, though, you have more playoff implications, I think. For Ohio State and Indiana, they should be. The loser of that game, barring a 3-4 score blowout, the loser of that game should still get a bye. We don't know what the committee will do, but I think it would be really disappointing if the loser of that game did not still get a top 4 seed and a bye in the college football playoff. In the SEC, Georgia, I think, certainly has to win, or almost certainly has to win, in order to secure a bye. And Alabama probably can't get a bye, but would need a win to get a home playoff game in the first round. And if they were to lose in a lopsided way, who knows? That would be a third loss. They could maybe even drop all the way out. The committee has been reluctant to do that, which I think is smart. In this era of 12-team playoff, we have the conversation already, some nationally, about whether some teams want to even be in the conference championship game or whether they'd rather take that week off. If you start penalizing conference championship losers by dropping them from wherever Bama's going to be in that 9-10 range to out of the playoff, that starts to change the conversation considerably. So I do think they've done a good job of minimizing the adverse impacts of losing the conference championship game and instead kind of treating it as a bonus game relative to everything else.
Well, they would be pained, I would say, the committee. I don't trust that committee for a second. If Alabama has to be dropped out, they're like the brand along with Notre Dame. You know they're going to do all they can to have those teams in. Notre Dame's safe. Alabama, be careful now that if BYU knocks off Texas Tech, you have to keep Texas Tech in there as an at-large. BYU would qualify as a Big 12. Now you have two Big 12s. Uh-oh. Now you're starting to push Alabama to the 11 line, and they'd be out because you have to have an ACC in there. It's technically you don't have to have an ACC. It's the top conference champions, but ACC will qualify for that, and it'll be either Virginia or Duke. And then you have to have a group of 5 in there. And
see, but what if Duke wins the ACC championship though, and they're 8-5? Are you taking an 8-5? You can't put an 8-5 Duke over, right? Say, a 12-1 James Madison. We could have if they win.
Virginia should handle them, but I think it's going to be a tight game.
If Duke wins that game, it opens the door to getting 2 Group of 5 teams in, which would be maybe make for less compelling first round football potentially, but it'd be kind of spicy when the bracket comes out. It would cause a lot of chaos. You know, that's how somebody like Alabama could end up in trouble if now you have to take an additional team from outside that top 12. You know, I'm going to be very interested to see how they handle the back end of that. You know, this gets into another big picture conversation you and I are probably going to spend some time on in this hour. How do they look at Ole Miss now? Not only having lost their head coach, but having lost the lion's share of their offensive staff. They're going to be going into the playoff with somebody new calling plays and a lot of new position coaches on the offensive side and an interim head coach in Pete Golding. Now, Ole Miss should be safe, right? I mean, they're 11-1. There should be no question that what they've done on the field is enough to stay in the playoff. But we saw a 12-0 Florida State, a 13-0 Florida State get pushed out of a 4-team playoff because their quarterback was injured. That's a different situation. And I think it was more, I wouldn't have done it, but I think it was more defensible. I don't think you could defend dropping Ole Miss out. But if it becomes 10-3 Alabama, with, you know, losing a close SEC championship against 11-1 Ole Miss without their offensive staff and their head coach, is there somebody in that room who would be willing to speak up and make the case? Maybe.
I mean, it's crazy. Immediately, Florida State fans were like, hey, you know, you knocked us out for not having Jordan Travis, and now suddenly here we are with Ole Miss in that situation. But they are different. Ole Miss, what a crazy day that was yesterday. Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss. We all saw it coming that he was going to choose between Ole Miss and LSU, and the word was out that he was going to go LSU. But then as the day unfolds, he decides that he's going to go back into the office and lobby to coach in the CFP. Ole Miss doesn't want him, so they push him out. The offensive staff, are they coming with him? Are they not? He denies that to Marty Smith, the ESPN reporter, who flags him down on the tarmac and does an interview with him, and he says, there was no ultimatum. I wasn't trying to sway my staff and say it's this way or the highway. And all this chaos goes on. Meanwhile, LSU gets this coach who leaves in the middle. I mean, it really is the equivalent of Dennis Gates decides that he's going to take the Kansas job, and March Madness is right around the corner, and Missouri is a 2 seed in the tournament, and he wants to coach them. I mean,
it's almost like
it's
almost like they already won 2 games in the NCAA tournament, and he's leaving between the second round and the Sweet 16.
He's in the Sweet 16 as the 2 seed, and here comes Kansas, and they hire him in the middle of the freaking season. I mean, so football's got to figure this out. They've got to put some sort of guidelines on this thing so that this doesn't happen anymore. It's not a good look. It'll just look. It's Lane Kiffin, and he's done this before. He's moved around to a lot of different schools, and he built such a great, I thought, 6 years at Ole Miss and became a very likable character in the game. Not that he's done anything. He hasn't won really anything, but he put together the best regular season they've had, and now his image is tarnished, except in Baton Rouge. They're thrilled to have him.
I have a couple of thoughts on kind of everything that's gone down with Kiffin and Ole Miss. First of all, I heard some folks making the argument that the only reason Ole Miss wouldn't allow him to coach out the rest of the season is if they have hurt feelings, right? If they're making this personal and they feel like a scorned lover that you're going off to LSU, so we want to cut all ties with you out of spite. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's obvious to me why Ole Miss, even if they have no feelings whatsoever, even if they were happy to see him leave, why they would be uncomfortable with the idea of their head coach in the playoff simultaneously being the head coach of a conference rival, regardless of any concerns about him doing anything unethical. Even if you had alleviated all concerns of he's going to be talking to our players in our building about coming to play for him at LSU next year, even if you knew for a fact none of that was going to happen. How about the fact that you're just not getting 100% of Lane Kiffin, right? Probably at best you're getting 50% of Lane Kiffin going into the biggest games that the program has played in decades, maybe ever. You're going to have a coach who's got 1 foot in Baton Rouge, is already spending half his day on the phone with kids who are in the portal, with high school kids, trying to build a coaching staff. That's not realistic. That's not fair to Ole Miss. So obviously they need somebody. If you don't feel like Pete Golding at 100% is better than 50% of Lane Kiffin, Pete Golden probably shouldn't have been your defense coordinator in the first place, right? 50% of Lane Kiffin should not be better than whoever the next guy is that you could get as the head coach in that scenario. For Lane, you alluded to it. I think he, by his words and actions, and also a little bit on purpose in terms of the narrative that he was kind of putting out there through media coverage and through notably that ESPN documentary that was recently produced, I think the narrative around Lane Kiffin was that he was a different guy, that he had matured, that he was thrown into an incredible spotlight at such a young age in his early 30s as an NFL head coach, then later on at Tennessee and USC, and in particular that he had regrets about how the whole Tennessee situation had gone down, that he was a dramatically different guy after kind of going to the Saban school as an assistant, then coming up through FAU and the success that he was having, and he certainly was carrying himself in a very different way at Ole Miss. And it feels like this undermines and unravels so much of that. You can't help but think back to that night in Knoxville and those photos of him in the Tennessee facility, having made the decision to go to USC while the chaos is going on around him, and wonder, did he learn anything from that? I'm not saying there's nothing immoral about taking a job you think is better. We all have done it or would do it, right? If somebody offered us a big raise to keep doing the same job at a bigger company, a lot of us would take that opportunity. I'm not saying he's wrong for that. It feels like with Lane Kiffin, the idea was he was a young guy who got his head turned when the grass was greener on the other side of the fence. And what he learned is that wasn't always the case. He went to USC and he found out it wasn't what he thought he was signing up for. I wonder if the same thing might happen here. Has a really good situation at Ole Miss. He has a chance to win a national championship this year. Not a favorite, but you wouldn't say it'd be beyond your wildest dreams for Ole Miss to win the national championship this year. He's getting paid an enormous amount of money, and they reportedly would have they said they would match. They at least would have been able to get close to whatever LSU was offering. It's not about the money. I'm just surprised that it seems like he's getting his head turned so easily, the same way he did in his 30s, now when all we've heard is he's grown so much and he's a new guy.
I feel bad for Ole Miss fans who have experienced an amazing year. I feel very happy for the good people at Indiana, my fellow alums, to have Kurt Signetti. I feel good for Mizzou. You should feel a lot happier today that you have Eli Drinkwitz, who had some opportunities to go elsewhere. And by the way, after all this, Arkansas has a new coach, Auburn has a new coach, Florida has a new coach. You have Ole Miss now with a new coach, Michigan State has a new coach, LSU has a new coach. Where the heck is Penn State? I mean, Penn State, they have been very, very quiet, mysteriously quiet, actually.
Does it make you think there's any fire to the Kalen DeBoer smoke,
yes,
that they're still waiting this long?
I do, and I think they have their eye on somebody who is currently coaching and somebody who is going to be coaching perhaps on Saturday and perhaps coaching beyond that. We'll find out. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, Amy Markscore is going to jump in here and talk some hockey. I was over at the skate today. We'll talk some Blues hockey with her. We're also going to get into gambling and sports, which today is the first day that you can gamble legally on sports in the state of Missouri. And yes, we are going to talk some baseball. Mr. Negative, Aaron Dodson, says another day passes and no more Cardinals moves. TikTok Heim. Well, Aaron, you're about to get exactly what you want because moves are going to happen. Are they going to happen today, this moment, this hour? No, but I talked to Chaim Bloom about it yesterday, and I'll tell you what he told me. If you were listening to the show yesterday, you already know, but we will discuss that as well. It is the Gashouse Gang on KMOX. Back after this.
This holiday, give the gift that lasts all season long. Cardinals ticket packs are on sale now, starting at 5, 6, and 10 games. All packs include 2026's top games and favorite giveaways. Backed by popular demand, choose from the opening day pack or the bobblehead pack. Check out the Cubs pack, weekend pack, or apparel pack. There's a pack for everyone. Find your perfect gift right now at cardinals.com/tickets.
But Cardinals baseball lasts all season long. This year, give the gift of all-inclusive tickets, featuring a full buffet, complimentary bar, and unbeatable views at Busch Stadium. Enjoy great food, good times, and every moment of the action. Choose your experience in the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Coca-Cola Scoreboard Patio, and more. Make your holidays brighter with all-inclusive tickets, on sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina. Your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
For nearly 4 decades, no one shaped KMOX more than Robert Hyland. When he took over as general manager, Hyland transformed KMOX into the nation's first major all-talk radio station with At Your Service.
I think it's been a vehicle, it's been a forum for people, and it's brought people closer. That's what we're trying to do, air the views so we can put them out on the table and then dissect them and talk about them among ourselves and also with the experts and so-called experts on At Your Service.
He built KMOX into the sports voice of St. Louis, securing partnerships with the Cardinals, Blues, Football Cardinals, and Mizzou, and turning the station into a national powerhouse. A tireless leader, Robert Hyland turned KMOX into what CBS founder William Paley called the jewel in the CBS crown. Robert Hyland, a KMOX pioneer.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Blues fans, it's Peanuts Night at Enterprise Center. On December 17th, the St. Louis Blues face off against the Winnipeg Jets. And with a special theme ticket purchase, you'll take home an exclusive bobblehead featuring Snoopy driving a Zamboni and Woodstock along for the ride. It's the perfect collectible for hockey and Peanuts fans alike, celebrating Snoopy's winter spirits and love for the game. Don't miss a night of hockey, nostalgia, and fun for the whole family. Get your tickets now at stlouisblues.com/promotions.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is hiring residential garage door technicians and installers. Join the team trusted here since 1926. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. We will train motivated applicants to repair and install garage doors. Mechanical, carpentry, and service industry experience is a plus. Hiring bonus up to $4,000. Benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in St. Louis. Apply today at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Hi, this is Joe Buck. I used to work at KMOX. My dad used to work at KMOX. And I want to congratulate the radio station, the great KMOX, on 100 years strong as the voice of St. Louis.
Listen, Aaron Dotson, I need you to be more accurate. Now he says, I wish college football actually matters, but the Illini won't ever be a champion, so college football is garbage. Same old for Blue Bloods. Have you watched a second of college football? My alma mater is the furthest thing from a Blue Blood that's ever been. They're the losingest college football team. Now Northwestern is. But Indiana is the furthest thing from a Blue Blood you could possibly have.
Texas Tech's in the playoff.
Aaron, pay attention.
BYU could make the playoff.
Come on,
Vanderbilt's number 14. What are we doing? That makes no sense.
What are we doing? Nick says, I find it very interesting. Heim keeps dipping in the well of where he used to work. He must be pretty confident about these players being something to reckon with. Why? Because he did one deal with the Red Sox? Come on. Nick, love you, man, but let's okay, I'll table that for a little bit later because we're going to talk about Heim in just a moment. And then you got, Aaron says Illinois or nothing. And you got John saying the move for the Cardinals should be a new manager, number one thing to start. Please stop. Enough already. Marmo's not going anywhere, okay? Jeez, man. What in the world?
Man, they're getting to it today.
They are just, it's amazing. And I love, that's the thing, Amy, that's Amy Mark Scores, is that I love them. I love them. I love our fans. They just it's just irrational anger sometimes about the weirdest things. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Very good. With Nate Gatter, Tom Ackerman, Amy Mark Scores is here. I went over to the skate today, watched the boys. It looked, like a team that was complete, but they're not. I mean, they can't get out of the bad luck here. They lose Jimmy Snuggerud to wrist surgery, and then they lose Alexei Toropchenko, which they're only saying it was a home accident, but he burned his legs, and he's week to week. That's rough.
Scalding burns on his legs, and we were talking about this in the break. I can't think of anything worse for a burn than gross hockey equipment in a locker room. He's going to have to be completely healed before he comes back. It's not something that you can kind of tough it out. And we don't know the extent of the burns, but I mean, bad enough that, like you said, week to week, those burns can take a while to heal.
So what do they do now? They are calling up Kaskamaki, Alexandri Kaskamaki from Springfield. He's 21 years old, but hearing Jim Montgomery talk about him this morning, he really likes him. Thinks he's a smart player, good heady player.
Yeah, he's got good defensive sensibilities. And we're looking outside the studio. The windows, we're seeing the snow here, where you know that there are delays on the roads and at the airports. And so Kaskamaki's plane has already been delayed. And they are waiting to see if he'll make it into St. Louis in time for puck drop. If he doesn't make it in time for puck drop, there could be a chance that Tyler Tucker will bounce around between offense and defense. But they'll go with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen.
Why are the Blues playing better right now? Is it as simple as they're getting better goaltending?
I think that's a big part of it. They are playing better defensively, but the goaltending really stepping up. We saw both Binnington and Hofer put up huge performances. Hofer got his revenge on the Utah Mammoth with the shutout. Remember, they were the ones that really took it to him earlier in the season, at the beginning of the season. Jordan Binnington helped the Blues steal that game over the Ottawa Senators. And so the Blues, and I have the number here, that when it comes to goals against, they are now sitting 6th in the league in their past, I want to say 11 games or so in goals against. They've been able to really shut down that number because teams were putting up, 5 goals a game, it seemed, against them. So I would say goaltending.
Obviously, Jimmy Snuggerud also going to be missing now for an extended period of time. I think all the team said is that he'll be reevaluated in 6 weeks, so it's really no timetable on his return. What do you think the Blues can do to cope with his absence?
Well, the Blues' best players, their leaders, Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, are going to have to step up their game. I mean, up until, was it the last game, the fourth line was carrying the team on even strength goals. The fourth line, you can't expect to have sustained success if your top 6 can't score. So yes, Jimmy Snuggerud was in that top 6, and we've seen the lines, been thrown in a blender this year. But Robert Thomas is going to have to step up. Jordan Kyrou, Buchnevich, who finally got that even strength goal over the weekend, his first of the season. He's going to have to continue to produce. And it's really as simple as that. I guess the good news is that they haven't been producing. So we know that Thomas and Kyrou and Buchnevich can produce more, can play better. We've got Jake Neighbors back. He can produce. And that's what it's going to have to come down to. It's not really rocket science, but it's something that up until this weekend, we hadn't seen. We hadn't seen great goaltending. A couple games here and there, but not consistently. And we haven't seen the top 6 score even strength goals.
The Anaheim Ducks are red hot. They are the number 1 team right now. Now, they've lost, let's see, I wouldn't say red hot. They're playing better. They've won 4 out of their last 7, but they are the number 1 team in the Pacific Division. And they are coached by Joel Quenneville.
That's right. And he's turned that franchise around. The fans over the past few years were really frustrated with the style of play that the Ducks had. It was kind of dump and chase. It was boring. It was slow. And Joel Quenneville has leaned into the speed and skill of their roster and is playing classic Joel Quenneville hockey, which is letting them go, sending them to the races. They are aggressive now with whether it be their counterattack, with their breakouts, with the rushes, and having the defense jump in. He's really done a 180 with the style of play that Anaheim has seen over the past few years. It highlights their current roster's strength, and man, he's done an incredible job, which is, that's the kind of Joel Quenneville hockey we saw with the Chicago Blackhawks. That's what he does with that type of skilled player.
The Blues, with a win tonight, would be a 500 club, 10 wins, 10 losses, and 7 overtime losses, which they need to fix that. You got to figure out how to win in overtime. You can't have 7 overtime losses.
They haven't won yet. Once it's gone to overtime, they haven't won.
Figure out 3-on-3 or score on a shootout. That'd be helpful. Also, they would be, right now, they're 2 points out of the last wild card spot, which seemed unthinkable. So it's a long, long season in the NHL. Wednesdays with Chris Kerber. When do you appear on Matrix Midwest? Is it 6?
6 p.m. Wednesday evening, Matrix Midwest, 32 over the air, 6 on Spectrum or the Matrix Midwest app.
I don't forget the time and place, but I say it in that way so that you can describe it. It's like a
I have
method.
To stop and think. My brain, I'm like, wait, when is
it again,
on?
Amy?
6 p.m. on Wednesdays.
6 p.m. Matrix Midwest with Chris Kerber. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Amy Mark scores, who covered the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues for KMOX, and she is back at it again with Nate Gatter. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Gashouse Gang. We'll check that weather here momentarily, and then we'll talk to the voice of the Billikens, Bob Ramsey. We'll take, here we go. The baseball texts and comments are coming in. Bloom is on the right track. Team can't be built overnight. Nick wants to say it's not a bad thing at all that he's looking at his former teams. Said, I really hope these players pan out. So do I, Nick. Thank you for clarifying. We'll come back right after this.
Weekdays at 5, it's Rush Hour Sports on KMOX. Hot stove blazing. College football bowl season heating up. College basketball teams making their final prep for conference play. NFL teams jockeying for playoff positions. And the latest in Cardinals baseball and Blues hockey. Fast updates, instant analysis, 0 wasted seconds. St. Louis sports, all of it. Delivered right at Rush Hour. Rush Hour Sports, weekdays at 5 on KMOX. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
We have heavy snow falling in downtown St. Louis, and it is going to be this way for much of the afternoon and into this evening. There's also some sleet forecast in there, so not a good look right now in downtown St. Louis as the snow begins to accumulate. We have a high of only 29 degrees today, 31 tomorrow, 38 on Wednesday. So this snow is going to be on the ground for a while. It's 29 degrees with some heavy snow in downtown St. Louis.
Thinking about a bath remodel or swapping that old tub for a sleek, easy-to-clean shower? Glover here for Michael's Baths with one question. What is there even to think about? Michael's beats the competition by 30 to 50%, uses top quality materials, and backs it with over 30 years of experience. And now they'll throw in a free shower door or $500 off. Schedule a free in-home consultation, 636-775-0800, michaelsbaths.com. That's michaelsbaths.com.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and can you believe it's already the holiday season? While most people are thinking about lights and gift lists, a lot of homeowners are also wondering if now is the right time to sell or if they should wait until the new year. So I'm here with Gloria Liu from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, what should sellers be thinking about right now?
Great question. Even during the holidays, serious buyers are still out there, and with fewer homes on the market, sellers actually face less competition. When we get into the new year, listings start to spike and competition rises. But that's never a problem for my clients because I guarantee to sell your home at your price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. Whether you want to move now or after the holidays, we'll make it smooth and stress-free.
That's why Gloria Liu is the trusted choice for St. Louis home sellers. Call 314-325-6888 or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. From all of us, happy holidays, and here's to your next move being your best one. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. Thanks to supporters like you, children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach incredible milestones. Please donate today at treeofhope.org.
Hi, this is John Kelly. Congratulations from the Kelly family to KMOX Radio, 100 years strong as the voice of St. Louis.
Once again, please use caution out there. We have heavy snow in downtown St. Louis. I'm getting text messages from some friends in St. Louis County saying there are cars skidding on Lindbergh. People are not using the proper precautions here. Keep your distance between the vehicle in front of you, please, as we have heavy snow falling in downtown St. Louis. Right now, we were expecting to get 1 to 3 inches. I'm going to say that is on the 3 side of that. Weather sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company, PennMutual.com/STL. At Penn Mutual, they believe that life insurance is a central part of a sound financial plan. It can make an enduring impact for generations to come. Talk to your independent advisor. Go to PennMutual.com/STL. Penn Mutual, trusted for life. We say hello to the voice of the Billikens, Bob Ramsey, on KMOX. What's up, Rammer?
Good morning. It's our afternoon for you. Yeah, it's good to visit with you guys. Was this snowstorm expected? That's quite alarming, 3 inches.
It was expected that we would get 1 to 3 inches, and it would be a light and quick snowstorm. This is one that is quick, all right, quick to hit the ground. It's coming down pretty good here in downtown. I know where you are on the West Coast in Cali. You are not dealing with any of that. How are things out there?
No, but what's odd is that traffic is probably even worse than snow traffic in St. Louis. I can look out the hotel window and one of the major highways here, and it's barely moving, when it has been barely moving since we've been here for the last 24 hours. That's just the way it is out here.
Bob, I listened to you and Earl call the last few minutes of the Stanford game Friday night. I was in a hotel restaurant in Detroit, and I couldn't get the game to, the bartender looked at me like I was speaking Chinese when I asked for the Billikens game. And so I said, you know what, I'm just gonna listen to Bob and Earl. I know they'll be there for me. And I can't tell you how much I enjoyed listening, even if it didn't go the way that we wanted in the end with a 1-point loss at the very end. I've seen Josh Schertz criticized since then for fouling up by 3. But in that situation, especially with how little time there was on the clock, pretty much Stanford needed a miracle to win the game after being fouled, and the exact sequence of miraculous events they needed is what happened.
It's funny, critics, and I'm probably the same way, is on that fouling late up 3 is kind of a results-oriented thing. It seemed like I would say, if you ask and did a poll, not of fans, but of people in the game at any level, that I think over the last 10 years or so, guys, that fouling late is kind of the way folks do it, and Coach Schertz has it sort of broken down really specifically, like a 5-second window from 2 on the clock to like 7 on the clock is the only time. And then there are other coaches who will tell you, I'd never do it. Too many things could go wrong, whereas they might not be likely. If they do go wrong, it'll cost you. And that's what happened to the Billikens the other day. Having said that, that game was lost throughout the game by so many layups missed and guarding the 3-point line. It was just not a very good performance by SLU. And they won. They beat Santa Clara. That's a very nice win, but didn't play great. Didn't play great the next night, and it cost them.
Yeah, that's right. They stole the Santa Clara game. They stole it right from under Santa Clara on a terrific play at the end by Kellen Thames. And they could have felt like they walked away with a steal because of the way they played against Stanford. You're right, until a shot that was hit like I used to shoot in my driveway when we had a branch hanging over the baseline shot. And I'd shoot it straight up in the air. It was unbelievable. Isn't that college basketball for you, how you can go from exhilaration to pain in a 24-hour period?
What's really bad, and maybe I hung around Tony La Russa too long, the losses stay with you way longer than the wins. And it's a tough one. And so that's why the challenge for tomorrow night is to go beat a very solid Loyola Marymount team on their home floor and kind of get out of the funk and try and start playing the game you expect to play. And then it's been talked about a little bit, but you go back 14 years where the Billikens won a tournament in Anaheim and were feeling great, and then a couple of days later had a standalone game at Loyola and blew it. So hopefully you don't fall into that trap, and it'll be a really hard game against the West Coast Conference team.
Bob, we've talked about it some on these airwaves. I talked about it with Coach Schertz maybe a couple of weeks ago. We all understand that the deck is stacked against mid-majors these days in college basketball when it comes to non-conference scheduling by the cabal of the high majors and the way they hoard the quad one games and try to protect themselves, insulate themselves from taking a loss that's going to hurt them come selection time. So we understand that the St. Louis schedule, as I don't want to say soft, but at lacking the big names that it is in the non-conference, is not Josh Schertz's doing. It's not the Billikens' preference. It's what they've been forced into by teams buying them out of games and refusing to play them. At the same time, it is what it is. St. Louis has, as a result, a very, very slim margin for error. It's a real shame that a game like Stanford could really hurt them down the stretch because they just have so few opportunities for quality non-conference wins to build up any kind of at-large resume if they aren't able to win the A-10.
What I don't know is how that Stanford game will look in 3 months. Some people say, Stanford's not very good, and they're in a brutal conference, obviously the ACC, and may end up down at the bottom. So even though it's a Power 4 or 5, if you count the Big East, a Power 5 team, will their standing and their ranking and whatever evaluations you want to lose not be that good? Having said all that, you sure needed to get that win to take any of the wiggle room out, right? You want to grab those wins because, as you point out, you just don't have that many opportunities. So, I don't know if there's much more to say about it. You had an opportunity and you let it go. You know, it happened to Travis Ford a number of years. He really put a lot of work into having the best possible schedules to set up for March, to set up for an at-large bid. The problem was they didn't win enough of those games, and so the mid-majors, not a lament, just a fact. You just don't have you don't have the margin for error, so you got to win your games. So that means you gave away Stanford. Now you got to beat Loyola Marymount. San Francisco comes to town next week. And so these are the ones you got to have, much less you can't have one of those weird stumbles where a lesser team comes in and beats you non-conference. You just can't have those. So it's a mid-major school to get an at-large bid has to have a pretty gaudy record when March rolls around.
The Billikens take on Loyola Marymount tomorrow night at 9, which means I will be needing some extra coffee on Wednesday. I can't wait for the game, though. I'm looking forward to hearing it on KMOX. Before we go, I got to mention this SLU men's soccer team. My goodness, beating Bryant on PKs. Jeremy Abanel is the hero as he does a terrific job in goal. And the Billikens are moving on to play Ackerman on Saturday at noon. Rammer, what a time this is for Kevin Kalish and his team. And by the way some of these teams have fallen in this tournament, they could get there. I mean, they could do this.
This might end up being their biggest challenge, playing at Akron, where they played at the end of September. Now, you could argue that your team has gotten better, it's evolved, but that was their worst loss of the year, despite being a road game. Gave up 3 goals, which is uncharacteristic of Kevin's team. And they've got a big challenge ahead of them, and they know it. That's the thing. You've already played them once, and you know what it's going to take to beat them. The defense, which has been pretty locked down for quite a while now, will have to be against a high-scoring Akron team.
Bob, your visits on KMOX, the Billiken Report, sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri.
Well, Royal Banks of Missouri has a dedicated team, and it's there to help everybody to help you along the way in life's journey. You can call or visit any branch today, which feels like your hometown bank, and learn about savings and money markets and certificate of deposit account options and much, much more. Discover the differences of local banking and a local banking partner invested in your success. Call 314-212-1500 or stop by at any of our 15 locations for more information. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
What's up, Missouri? Tony Gonzalez here. Your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook is live in Missouri. You can get in on all the action with fast withdrawals, a safe and secure app, and betting that's easy to use anywhere you go. And the best part, DraftKings keeps the excitement going with awesome promos and offers all season long. That's why it's America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't wait. New customers sign up today. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Let's go, Missouri. Get in the game.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THELOU. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THELOU in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
This holiday season, experience the power, the intensity, the legendary sound of Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Coming to Enterprise Center for 2 shows, December 23rd at
I'm Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-242-3131. 800-242-3131.
Life is better together. At Fairwinds River's Edge, dynamic activity calendars, excellent meal options, and an abundance of services come together to create a strong sense of community where meaningful connections are cultivated. Here, you can trust that there will always be something fun and social to do. It's not just a place to live, it's a place to belong. To see what's happening this month, visit us on Facebook or online, fairwindsriversedge.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, baseball fans, the comments are coming in fast and furious. Before we do that, we are giving away one Cardinals apparel ticket pack for the 2026 season. Each apparel pack comes with a pair of tickets to 5 different games for the 2026 season. Winner must have a valid email address. Daniel, in honor of the great Albert Pujols, let's take caller number 5 at 314-955-1120. 314-955-1120. Caller number 5 gets the Cardinals apparel ticket pack. Big Mark says pitching. That's what he wants. I would agree with that. I'm cycling through some comments here on YouTube. We've had Aaron chiming back in, said he'll be more positive when the Cardinals become more of a constant contender. Well, you're going to be waiting a year or two for that, Aaron, I'm afraid. Mike says Bloom is on the right track. Team can't be built overnight. Right on, Mike. You were correct about that. We've got a lot of comments coming in here. Let me throw a few more out there, and then I'm going to send this over to Nate Gatter. Cardinals need outfielders, too, besides starters. Actually, I'm going to send that to you right now, Nate. They need outfielders besides starters. I agree. They need starting pitching. They need power somehow, some way. If you had to pencil in an outfield right now, what would you do for the Cardinals?
I mean, I think it's still Scott in center field, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know. We've talked about this. The corner outfield is just so messy. I don't like it at all because they just have a dearth they have an excess of guys who can play those spots. Like, I would say based on the roster as it stands right now, Lars Nootbaar is in there in either corner, probably in right, but I'm not confident that Lars Nootbaar is on this team on opening day. So, but if I was working with the players that we have right now, I would say Nootbaar plays right, and probably I'm splitting up left field between Walker and Burleson. I could flip those guys too. I don't really care about left or right. Burleson would be the next best option, but I just don't see the point of this season if Jordan Walker isn't playing a significant amount. So I think I would be inclined to put Walker in the lineup just about every day if I could, at which point then that's why I feel Nootbaar moving seems likely, because I wouldn't want to hold or Burleson, I guess, but I wouldn't want to hold one of those guys on the bench. But I also don't see what purpose Jordan Walker is serving with how the Cardinals are set up for this year and with the stage of his career that he's at. Jordan Walker serves no purpose on the bench.
I agree with you. I think Walker's got to play right, and I think this is his season, and if it doesn't happen this season, I think you got to move on in a different direction. I think Vic is in center field, and I like Burleson in left, and if Newt is healthy and if he's still here, then he gets that opportunity as well. John, who I ripped into for trying to get rid of Marmol just called me a class act. So I appreciate that, John. It's very nice.
That's you're living a charmed life, Tom Ackerman. I mean, we can just not many of us can rip people on KMOX and get comments about how classy we are from the same guy.
It's very sweet. I appreciate that. Keegan wants to know if Tyler Malley is in play. Now, that's an interesting name. He's a free agent. He is a bit of a soft thrower. And I just don't know the answer to that. I mean, he's about, I want to say 30, 31 years old. It doesn't seem like the fit that the Cardinals want right now. I think they want young, controllable, and they want somebody who can get swing and miss. And I looked at his numbers not long ago, and I believe it was somewhere in the neighborhood of, even though he was 6-4 with a 2.18 ERA, I just looked it back up. He had about 66 strikeouts or so over 82 innings. So, I mean, you're looking at, you need somebody who's got a little more swing and miss. But there are some options. Ideally, you want somebody who's young, controllable. I'll just take anybody who can fill in the rotation because you need a rotation to make this thing work if you want to see what else you have, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, well, you got to have at least 5 guys who can start games if they're going to allow you to play in Major League Baseball. So they're going to need to figure that out. To your point, I think Malley, we might get to a point in this offseason where the Cardinals are saying, we'll take anybody who's a decent budget option and can pitch in the 4 or 5 spot. But to your point, I don't think Malley really fits the Bloom ethos so far, even going back to the kind of guys they were targeting in the draft, which I think we all agree was the first really good example of Bloom's influence. Not necessarily that he was making the calls on who the Cardinals were selecting in that draft over the summer, but that he was playing a more significant role in how the evaluation went and what kind of profile the Cardinals were targeting. And there's no question that the Cardinals scouting ethos has transitioned dramatically from guys who get ground balls, we play great defense, and we kind of moneyball this thing on the starting pitching market, to we want guys who can get the swings and misses, and Malley's not really that guy.
And Steve reminds us that after June 1st, Victor Scott hit only 183. No, you're right, but you don't give up on him. He is a world-class fielder. The guy was a Gold Glove finalist, but you have to have more. You have to have depth. They're going to have some thumpers in this lineup somewhere to be able to last throughout the season. This team is not going to survive with, I don't even know if Wilson Contreras will be on the team, but right now he's the only guy to me, Nolan Gorman on occasion, Ivan Herrera when healthy, who can deliver you some power. I mean, you have to have some source of power on this team, and I don't see much of it on the Cardinals right now. So they will have to go find, ideally, somebody in the outfield who could hit with them some thump would be great. Burleson would qualify as that.
But it's why I think they have to prioritize getting as many games, as many at-bats as possible for Gorman and Walker, because Gorman in particular, but even Walker, if he could hit the ball in the air a little bit more. Let's put it this way. If Scott and Walker and Gorman are in the lineup most every day and they're getting a bunch of at-bats, if even one of those guys takes a significant step forward and now you've got something moving on past this year, it's worth playing all 3 of them. Like at this, with how the team the Cardinals expect to have, they can afford to play long odds with a bunch of guys and hope they can hit on one.
Man, this show flew by. Daniel, we have a winner on that. That's good. Who was it? That's all right. We do have a winner, so that's good. He threw it away. No, we have a winner. Oh, Joe from Oakville. Joan from Oakville. Congratulations. I just want to make sure so people don't continue to dial in. Congratulations. You won the Cardinals apparel ticket pack. And we are out of time. It's been a blast. Good to see you, pal.
You too, sir.
Nate Gatter. On the Gashouse Gang, I'm Tom Ackerman. It's KMOX, and it is snowing. We will get the forecast at the top of the hour.
Here we go, Missouri. It is here. FanDuel Sportsbook is live and ready to roll in the Show Me State, and they're celebrating with a little something for everyone. All this week, every customer gets a no-sweat bet every day. That's right. No matter what you're betting on, if it doesn't hit, you'll get bonus bets back to keep the action going. So if you're doing basketball, you're betting football, hockey, whatever it is that you are into, you can bet it all on an app that is safe, secure, and it is built for every kind of fan. So The payouts are fast, the interface is quick and easy to use, and the experience is top-notch. So download FanDuel or visit FanDuel.com/Missouri. FanDuel Sportsbook, now live in Missouri. 21 plus and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Opt-in required each day. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $20. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms of sportsbook.com.